Let's call this meeting to order. What do you say? Well, we're all here. Would anybody like to approve the minutes of the last meeting? Any questions?
I'll make a motion to approve.
All in favor? Motion carries. How about approve the invoices, pay the bills? Usually takes that. There's always questions on that.
I just got something I want to talk to them about, Brian, about more than anything later. A little bit of a concern of mine for a long, long time. I don't see any reason to bring it up against mine. I bring it up all the time. You know what I'm talking about?
Absolutely.
I think now I might be able to get something done about it. What was all the refunds? It looked like refunds to me. Over,
Customer
Or
maybe.
what?
yeah. Was there just a whole series of those
Those are every month.
every month? Okay.
When customers move out, Debbie will apply their deposit to what they currently owe
Oh.
and then refund the rest.
Thanks. Okay.
Well, people moving out.
That's not good. Kind of
All the
scary.
customer base, we know it's not there.
That's scary. You got any, Phil?
Not on the payables.
On page 13, second to the top, there we got, this is changes for E-Campbell's cell phone. What is that Verizon? Is his different? And it is not Appalachian Wireless?
Sure.
Okay.
I really don't know. So we can use it in
Yeah.
that state. Did you know this? Make a motion. Have a second. All in favor? Motion carries. Special projects financial report.
There wasn't, on the financial report, there wasn't one this month because we had two in the last month's meeting.
Nope. Do we need a motion for that then? Public comment?
I want to I appreciate y'all getting on that so quickly down there because by the time the church started rolling in, I started getting text after text after text. So I appreciate it.
No public comment? How about new business? Number one, Mr. Johnson here.
Thank you.
You got the
Listen,
floor.
I've been told that there has not been a lot of information about the projects we've been working on, which has been a while. So I did kind of a summary of projects and printed a bunch of stuff. to hand out, and if you don't mind, I'll take me a minute to hand it out. But
Yeah, all the time you need.
this is a river crossing project that, it was boards across rivers, and it was, and that's, I clipped that, and things are stapled together. But that project has actually been completed and closed out. And the as-built are in there. I've got it. I've got organized enough to find them down, so there they are.
What is this, Ron? What are you showing us exactly? What is it?
Well, I mean, it's a summary of the project, kind of from the get-go to now.
And is this the river crossing, that's completed, correct?
That is completed, that's where you board across the river in about 10 different spots, okay? And I'll walk you through it. I mean, I'm an engineer, I don't know how to talk unless I've got a map or a set of plans or a document in front of me. And I thought, this might catch you up. Brian, you don't have this one, do you?
Are we all looking at the same one, Ron?
Yeah, it's all the same one, that's river crossings, and if you don't mind, I'm now going to pass out another project, US 23 project. That's all one project.
These are river crossings.
You said this one is
What they're
completed.
doing there is,
That one is completed,
a lot of
yes.
them just went over. This gives us a way to, if one of them, if it does, they can shut it off and then redirect it.
Is these hours to keep?
Yes, yes. Brian, I gave you a 23,
Yes.
right? And this is Stevens Ave.
On the one account.
Like I said, just, probably should have just had it stacked all there.
Where do these things go?
Don't forget you.
Hey, I'm gonna see
Yeah,
one
I
here.
know that.
Interesting.
Yeah, that give you a Stevens.
Yeah.
Mr. Elliott.
I didn't get that.
So on here, how many of these accounts does this?
Well, this one is 1428.
You've already handed out some 1428. I've got.
You got 1428? Oh, it's the Stone Christian 1428. Chris and I got 1428. I have a bunch of them here.
That's what they have.
Should be right on the front. And all the information is the same. Just where you're at.
That account, what is this?
That give you a 1428.
Couple of years ago. This is tied in 1428 to Allen. And then we already had a line laid up past then they just extended that on up to the new sewer.
So Ron, walk us through through, I got a question. Walk us through the process here.
That's what I was getting ready to do. Okay. Let's see, let's look at Stevens and Abbott, for instance. That one's not complete yet. That's the last one we bid. And the first sheet is just a preliminary budget that we submitted with the DOW for the total project. At the bottom,
Who puts that budget?
we did with Prestonsburg
That's
Utilities.
the input, okay.
Okay? Actually, Prestonsburg, I helped with the budget, but all these projects pretty much came out of here, okay? To apply to KIA, okay? So initial budget, we put plans and specs together, we design it, we submit it to DOW, we do an environmental document review with Division Water, we get all the permits, DOT, floodplain, Corps of Engineers, everything, and we bid it, okay?
We take bids, when you say we bid it, we take bids from contractors based on these bid specifications?
Yeah, the bid documents, which this is a bid document, and a set of plans, okay? We put them on an blueprint, contractors pull them down from there, and, 21 days, usually the bid period, we'll have a pre-bid conference, we'll usually come out with an addendum, and then we open bids, okay? They were all open here.
Yeah.
Which leads us to this. Once we do that, then we put this document together that goes to the Division of Water for approval. And this is the ATA, or the Authority to Award.
Yeah.
And this document has everything that's in that cover letter, okay? This is all required by Division Water. So we put it together. They review it, and if you'll notice, there is an adjusted budget in here based on actual bid contracts with the low bid. Of course, before that, we evaluate the bid tab, which is this sheet right here, and that's all the bidders and all the line items of the bid, okay? And there's an alternate on this one too, some allowances and et cetera. But anyway, Boca Enterprises was the low bid. So we, Prestonsburg's input, et cetera, we say, yeah, Boca can do the job. We do a letter of recommendation to award the project to Boca, put it in this document. Boca will fill, and you guys approved Boca, okay, this commission did. Put all these documents together that is required by KIA. Division Water is Kentucky Infrastructure Authority's agent, okay? They're the people that make sure you cross T's and dot I's. They review this for completeness, for accuracy, etc., and then they give us the authority to award, okay? We proceed to give a notice of award, and then, add a pre-construction meeting and have the contracts there. The contractor will go get his bonds, performance bonds, payment bonds, and once he has that, we'll schedule the pre-construction meeting and we'll go over the do's and don'ts of the project. And we have about a 4-page list of this is what you can do and this is what you don't do, including DOT requirements, etc. And then once, we get through that, we sign the contracts, give the notice to proceed. It's a 10-day notice. The contract starts in 10 days. And you got 365 days to complete, okay? And then we track it, we inspect it, and this regulatory authority's approval, that's just paperwork, you're off bedtime reading. And then we have progress meetings every month, and that's this document right here. And this really tells you where we're at every month. And this is what, we submit this every month. Minutes of this meeting, every month, it goes to Division Water. Everybody gets it, okay? And this kind of tells you where the project's at. If you look at the first progress meeting, the original contract amount, no work completed, 365 days, they're procuring pipe and materials. We needing some metals, we need construction schedule. We need shop drawings, et cetera. And then we have, some comments, et cetera. And then we'll put that in minutes of the meeting, and then we'll distribute that to everybody, including Division Water. Of course, you have a sign-in sheet. And then if you want to jump back to back in the back, it's got the most recent.
That's what I was getting at, do you have the most recent?
This is every month.
Oh, this is just.
Every month
Okay.
to the most recent, and the most recent is in the back. And actually, we've got one tomorrow. And I think you may put the one in tomorrow. This is actually,
Yeah.
no, it's summary of minutes, this is the last month. This is February 20, okay?
I got March 20.
Wait a minute. I'm not far enough over. Sorry, Glenn. Yep, it is March 20.
So it's not.
So this is not the minutes, this is the agenda for tomorrow, okay?
So we paid 82% of the total 1.5, and they've used 90% of the time.
Right.
Okay.
Yep. Anticipated progress in the next 30 days, we'll discuss that, and then we'll discuss action items, and there won't be any change orders. Actually, this one, we changed the order, this one and it's in your document back in front of this, for about almost $300,000. We added 50 grinders to this project. And that pretty much tapped the project out. When we bid this thing, it was under budget, quite a bit. And we did change order to add grinders, about 50. Each one of those grinders are about $4,500 a piece complete. So we base bid 80
Why were those
grinders.
added?
I'm sorry,
Why were those added? If you don't
because
mind.
they had the demand for the customers. I mean, we base bid 80 grinders, and there was more people that signed up. A lot of people signed up after the fact.
After it started.
And so the demand was there, and almost 130 grinders that the 50 plus the 80 had been put in the ground. I mean, 1428 is almost complete, We should finish hopefully in April, if not April, May. And then that's basically, the document you have is the same thing on every project.
Now, when you do this monthly, does this report come to city utilities?
Yes, sir. Yeah, that's who we do it for. That's who we do it for. And it goes to Division Water, it goes to Big Sandy Ad,
This is helpful.
but we've been doing it from the get-go.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the way we do things. We track it, like a hawk. We look at the budget. I mean, I've got an admin guy who's really technical, and he's really good with spreadsheets. But we're watching, between the inspector and we're watching this thing. We make sure we're not over budget. It scared me when we did the change order, because we got over our skis a little bit and put some of those grinders in before we kind of, because there was such a demand. And we did have enough money. We had a miscellaneous side allowance built into the project, so we didn't have to go to Division Water and get change orders done. So we had to dip into that too, but we had $100,000 set aside. It's basically contingency built in that we only use if we have to. But this project, I think, is going to end up spending pretty much all the money and about $25,000 or so surplus at the end. And that's just a guess at this point in time. But we think there's some savings here and there, about $25,000. Now, the project that we're really doing well on, that we've not done the change order yet, and we still got the miscellaneous side intact, is the Abbott Stevens. We've got about $400,000 of surplus money in it that we had, and we think that we won't allocate. We think we can save that kind of money. US 23, we won't have any, and actually the US 23, the budget wasn't projected for the project that we're doing. It was projected to come back to Prestonsburg to a potential plant across the river. Just, the bridge didn't get built. Everybody knows about that project. So whenever the southern deal came about and we said we're going to expand the Harrell plant, then the focus was we need to get, basically we're taking Allen's flow with the pump station, 6 miles downstream with the US 23 project, 12-inch line, no customers, just a transmission line, to get that waste down to there, okay? And we thought we had a shot of getting in budget, but we didn't. So what we did, we put some alternates in for substituting pipe, cheaper pipe, not out of spec pipe, but PVC versus HDPE. And we reduced it by $120,000, deducted out to get 5% contingency, and we could award it. And we all looked at it, we all agreed with that, and that's what we did, so we got it in the budget.
Didn't Summit originally do the plans for that expansion at, up the
Floyd Pipe.
Pipe Floyd column?
When the project was built, it was built with a 100,000 gallon a day train, but it was designed for 400,000 gallon a day. The flow splitter, or the headworks, whatever you want to call it, is designed for that. The chlorination on the other side, on the downstream side of the plant, is designed for that. I don't think the sludge handling is, but yeah, it was to add about 3 additional 100,000 gallon a day trains, basically.
What was?
That original design.
I'm saying, did Summit not originally, or at some point, did Summit not come back and do a redesign for that expansion? And then didn't we come back and done it again? Did that not happen?
Well, what we did was we basically picked the footprint up that we were going to design across the river with an SBR, a 3-basin SBR, and footprinted it in that space, converting the train to sludge holding, the existing train, and put in a headerworks building, a sludge building, and a 3-basin SBR. That's what we designed, and that's what these plans right here are. And that's what we submitted to Division Water, which is ready to be approved as soon as the facility plan is approved, which is getting ready to go out for public comment. So we designed, and I didn't know it at the time, but evidently we designed more than we could afford. Right now, the plan Brian and I talked about is we've got $1 million grant, Section 531 grant. I brought to Prestonsburg. Nobody did any, I did all the act work. It came from Corps of Engineers. I had Hal Rogers' help. But anyway, that grant is still sitting there. It's not been touched. That and some money, hopefully some money we can save in these projects, 400,000, $500,000. Hopefully we got $1.5 million to go down there and expand that system to match whatever money we got without doing any more borrowing or, with money in hand. But that $1 million grant has not been touched.
Does it expire?
Yeah, it does, and I don't have a copy of the PPA. Did you ever find that?
I'll keep looking.
Okay, they're usually 3 years, and I think it's about a year old. I checked on it with the Corps the other day. They were fine. They know what we're doing. We originally had it with the SBR. We wanted to downsize it and do the extended air, expand the Harrell plant like you're talking about. And we actually submitted documents to that effect, that we weren't changing anything, and they amended the PPA for us to do that. So it's sitting down there, But we got to get this approved and these approved, and hopefully they'll be approved, in March, not March and April, and then we change the plan and put together as much capacity as you possibly can of extended it for the $1.5 million, hopefully. It may not be that much. But it's got to be redesigned to some extent.
So on these projects, is your firm the one who's doing the construction inspection? They have an inspector out there while?
Yeah, every day. Actually, I got 2. Because we've been
Can
having.
you just bill us hourly for that?
It's a fixed fee. Everybody gets the same fee. And it's based on construction of the project. And here's the scale. If you've got $1 million project, Your design fee is 8.85. Your inspection fee is for $1 million projects, 5.6.
Okay.
And-
And you said everybody gets the same fee. Who sets these?
Rural development, farmer home,
Okay.
I mean, that's where it came from, been used for decades.
All right. Fair enough.
You can have that. But every firm gets the same fee. That's the accepted fee. And it's in all the documents for Division of Water. They've approved it. It's a sliding scale, like I said. You interpolate in between.
Yeah.
And I might point out too that if you extend beyond the period, like 365 days that we have, I'm actually entitled to more inspection, but I haven't asked for anything. And we're trying to get it done by May, and I am trying my best to survive till May. Because I mean, my fees are 2 people over here, 5 days a week, you know, in vehicles, and I gotta pay them, you know? And I got an admin on top of that, and then, you know, I'm working for free. Basically.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The weather's what's slowed it up so much, isn't it?
Well, I mean, you know, that's the reason we've had no problems getting extensions, because it's rained more, you know, than, you know, and we've had, you know, some material deliveries, you know, issues too, but yeah, it's been tough weather. The good news is all the projects are in budget. They're out of time a little bit, but we're looking, Brian has done a great job pushing too. I'll tell you, he's pushed everybody to get done as soon as we can, but we want to get done with quality. And we still got startup to do on some pumps, and we still got to cross some T's and dot some I's. We got to do closeout documents, but our goal is to be done by May and have these 3 projects buttoned up.
The on-budget thing sounds good.
Pardon me?
The on-budget part of that
Yeah,
sounds good.
well, I mean, like I said, I think we've got some pretty good significant savings in Average Stevens. We would have had in 1428, but you had the customer demand. We had almost 300,000 surplus there, but we put it in grinder stations.
When you say additional engineering, I noticed you put that in all these.
Yeah, that is for all your permits. That's for DOT permits, for Corps of Engineer permits, for floodplain permits, and the environmental information document.
Legal and administration.
There really wasn't any. You know, that money just went back in the project. Now, I'm sorry. Big Sandy Ed gets about 25,000 or so per project.
Is it 25 or 40?
Some of them are 40, and they're different. I mean, most ads I work with are 40, but here they've been a little bit different. River Crossings, I think they prorated, it was 18. I don't think it's been full 40, but it's been close, and they come to the progress meetings and they take our pay apps and send them to Frankfurt.
So on the 300 grinders, does that equal 300 customers?
Yes, sir.
So on 1428, we're going to have 300 more customers?
No, that's, we had 80 in the base bid, and we added 50. So we're gonna have 130. 130. On the, Abbott Stevens, we base bid 140, and we're at 120 right now. And we think we got 6 or 7 more coming, I think, guys.
I think that's what the word is.
Yeah, so we may not hit the 140.
Couple over Stevens Branch.
I'll be honest with that, we probably would have base bid more out of 1428. I was worried about the budget.
So you're going to have some capacity there because of the extra grinder. You said you added 300, but it added 50 customers. Did I mishear you?
Yeah.
How many grinders did you add on the 1428?
We added 50, and we base bid 80. So we got a total of 130, and I think we're done in 1428. And then we base bid 140 in Abbott and Stevens, and we've installed 120, and we've got a few more to put in, so we're close to being done there too.
We're already 300.
I heck, I may have said it, you know, I'm sorry about that.
Lot to take in.
Well, and I apologize, you haven't been kept up, but I mean, we spent these every month. I mean, you know,
Well, this helps, it helps me.
we also do inspection reports, and we do those on iPads, and we send those out on a daily basis with quantities that have been put in the ground. And I should have brought one of those, and I didn't. Quantities put in the ground, how many men's on the job, pictures of everything, et cetera, and those are daily.
Goes to the ground now.
It goes to Brian, goes to Mike, goes to Patrick.
So, your fees are known going into these projects?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, they're fixed. They're based on that fee scale.
Well, I'm asking,
Yep.
we're seeing that now.
Yeah, they're fixed. I mean, it's based on construction. If the construction's $1 million.
Cost of the construction.
Yeah, the construction's $1 million, base bid's $1 million. Well, my fees are calculated based on that percentage that you got in front of you for design and inspection.
I didn't.
So the difference in the bids come out of the exact project cost.
I'm sorry.
The difference in the bids came out of the actual cost to do the project, excluding the fixed cost, regardless of who the engineer is.
Exactly right. Yeah, your soft costs, your admin engineering costs are fixed based on the base bid.
Different contractors doing the actual,
Yeah, but we take the best low bid,
Yeah.
sure.
you know, as long as that contractor's qualified.
And those bids were open in front of us.
Yeah, they were
They
open
brought it
publicly.
open.
I mean, and they're recorded and, you know, and then the bid tabs are in there.
Yeah, I was gonna say that bid tab, too, I saw
Right. Mhm.
one of them.
They're in every project.
So would you talk a little bit more about the inspection you did? What do you expect the project as it's going as far as?
Yeah.
What the contractor is doing, and then do you come back and do any other inspections on a residential or anything like that?
Well, we inspect the residential installations of the grinders. This project we bid complete. In other words, they installed the grinder station for the resident. They come to it, but there was a lot of help in helping them get there, you know what I'm saying? And we also inspect the main line, the trenching, the bedding, the backfill, make sure that it hits spec. We make this was an HDPE, high density polyethylene line, which was butt fused, welded with heat, and we observed that, and those welders are certified and documented with pictures, et cetera, and we tabulate the quantities, how much feet of pipe they put in each day, and how much feet of service line they put in, how many grinders they put in, all that's tabulated, and then at the end of the day, the inspector and the superintendent will quantify, make sure they agree, you know, with the quantities put in the ground, and then every week you do that, and then every month you reconcile it, and that's how you put your pay out together.
They're saying making sure it's inspected, or installed per specs.
Yeah, exactly, it's gotta get spec.
Yeah.
And they also, every material that they,
That's what they verify the footage.
yeah, but every material that they put in the ground, we spec it, it's in this document. The manufacturer, the type, the spec, and then they submit us shop drawings, cut sheets, if that's what they're putting in the ground, and then we check that, we make sure that that's what's going in the ground, so it gets spec. Division of Water engineer came down a month ago and inspected the completion of river crossing. It was fine, no issues. Did 80% completion of river crossing, I'm sorry, 1428 US 23. They were beyond 80, and they were fine too. So they had no issues when they did their field inspection. And they get the minutes of the meeting you got in your, yes, the progress, and they get that every month too. That's how they track the project.
How many crossings did you put in?
I can't remember. It's the as-built. I think it was, I think we dropped one, didn't we, Brian? Didn't we drop one?
I think it was 8,
Was that?
I believe.
The as-built are in the back of each one that was put in. And there was one in here that is noted as not installed. Okay.
So that project, 1420, is 86%.
Yes, complete. Actually, a little bit beyond that, as far as, it's 86% complete as far as the dollars, but as far as work completed, you know, we won't clean up until it dries up, but we're probably in the 90s as far as work completed.
What was the estimated number of days on that project?
365.
About 48, right?
Yeah. Right.
We voted in here.
Yeah.
A few months ago.
Yeah, and that was done with change order. And like I said, that Division Water approves all change orders. So, and they've all been approved. I think Fred put change orders in there too. That's in your information.
So on your cover sheet here, the cost of inspections is in here in the estimate, in the cost estimate sheet.
They are in your, yeah, but that right there is
Where is that
preliminary.
Is that reconciled somewhere?
Well, the actual reconciled budget based on base bid is on in there. That was preliminary, and then you adjust that down. That's based on the total project maxed out.
Yeah.
And then
That's your engineered estimate.
That's your engineer estimate using all the money,
Right.
and with the contingency.
And you hope those bids come in low.
Exactly right. Yeah. Yeah. There's actually a. That's the big tabs. A lot of stuff in here, probably shouldn't put in here, but it's all of the entire document. That's the actual. Okay, so right here's construction, okay? That's the total in the project, so what excess in there, you just put it in contingency. That's the base bid. That's the inspection. And yeah, that's estimated. This is actual. Now this is project, and this goes to division.
This one was what your actual cost?
That was the base bid,
Base
right?
bid.
Right.
What was that?
Well, with this one, yeah, we're close. This is one we did the change order. I should have maybe that's my
I saw price. I never saw price.
Well, I'm not saying this. Yeah, right. I'm not saying this. No, you're right. I don't think you're saying that.
change order one, it was $295,000, $292,000. That's the revised contract. That's the base bid. Change order one, $212,500. Yeah, the change order's in. Yeah.
Any more questions?
Well, I apologize for giving you too much, but I just kind of wanted you to understand.
Well, that's the first time we've actually seen this.
But it may be that they will want to stay home and do it and talk to you next time too, Ron.
Well, and I'll be glad to be here.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I do have a couple of questions. You and I, Ron came by my office the other day and we talked some about, actually we talked at length about a lot of different things. The waste treatment plant out there, where are we at on it right now? Because I saw that you had the regional facilities plan.
That regional facilities plan is supposed to go out on public notice anytime. And it's gotta be it's a 30-day public notice, issued, and once that, and you know, there's no objections or whatever, then they'll issue that, and then they'll turn around and issue the plan to specs. As far as expanding the Harrell plant and downsizing it, this is the big plan that we submitted, okay? The Harrell plant, we have to figure out, well, how much money we're gonna spend on it and exactly how much we can get out of that dollars we're gonna spend. Brian and I have talked about the $1 million grant we got and some savings in these projects. Hopefully they'll let us roll this over. It's all, you know, approved loan, and I don't know if KIA will let us do that or not, we'll have to check.
You may take surplus money that makes.
Yeah, it's 400,000, yeah, it's loan, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, for $1 million, we could probably get a 100,000 gallon a day train, you know.
Is that gonna be enough for what we need up there right now?
I'm ready to give you more than what you got, but it just depends on how, the other thing that we're trying to do, and I'm looking for funds right now, is do an I&I project, an inflow infiltration project at Allen. The flow in Allen should be 80 to 100,000 gallon a day, normal flow. When it rains, you get up to 400,000 gallon a day. So if we can tighten that up, we don't need near the capacity. So that's what Brian and I talked about, is rather than building more capacity, let's look at tightening the system up. And there's, you know, you can do a whole lot of I&I work for $500,000, and that's, we're working with House Group, and we had an ARC grant applied for, and we got turned down, and that's something that we're gonna go back and try to pursue. We had $500,000 applied for David, and $500,000 for Allen. And David was 531 money, and unfortunately, this year, the city of Martin got all the Corps of Engineer money. But there's next year we can apply for it. But I think that's something we do. But now, we've got the $1 million 531 grant, which is an 80% match. We talked about maybe doing some in-kind work. Maybe Prestonsburg's crew does excavation and, you know, tying manholes together, things like that, and that counts towards the match, is in-kind. But that's basically what you got to spend.
Okay, that grant that you have $1 million, what's the in-kind match on that?
Well, it's 20% match.
20%?
Yeah.
We'll come up to a couple $100,000.
Yeah, we need a couple $100,000.
Either in-kind or a
Either
match.
kind, and what we were talking about
Flat cash.
is, you know, we could bid the project and get the manufacturer's contractor to put the train in enough to get warranty, and then we figure out how much Prestonsburg can do as in-kind.
Okay,
That was something we talked about anyway.
we started out with the plant down here across the river, right? And then we went up there, and was the original plan to expand the one currently there? And then it changed over to build a new plant, and then you come back to,
No,
expand.
the same plant we were gonna build across the river.
Right.
With the bridge.
Yeah,
We picked the same,
same footprint.
same footprint, same facility,
Right,
and footprinted in that footprint at Harold, or the Harold wastewater treatment plant, basically.
were we just gonna write that one little plant off, or?
No, we were gonna use the existing train as sludge holding. It's, you know, it's aeration, and settling and so on and so on, the 100,000, but we would, rather than build a digester, we would use it for sludge holding.
You're just gonna adapt it right into?
Yeah, we're gonna utilize it, sure.
Alright. You need to talk to them about a couple of invoices. You want to talk to them about it now, or,
With the Big Sandy wastewater treatment plant,
yeah,
Stephanie and Brian, I think we're gonna go through it tomorrow,
okay.
with the budget and get it on the books, so maybe next month would be better.
Okay, I still.
And that way, they know what, because nobody knows about it. You know what I'm saying? What happened with the KIA, there's a KIA, what's called a P&D loan.
Plan design.
Plan and design. And when we started the design on the plant, there was a reimbursement taken out of that loan of $174,000. Well, they will let you draw 50% of that, it was $600,000. They'll let you draw 50% of that until you get plans and specs approved, Division Water. Well, we didn't have plans and specs approved. We had them submitted, and we ran out of money. So, because of the 174 that was taken out, okay, on the other project. So,
But 174,000 was taken out.
to reimburse expenses for the other plant. And that was mostly,
The other plant
You
was
lost.
down
the other plant being across the river.
Okay.
The one with the bridge didn't get built.
Right, but I thought that's the one you're talking about with the plan and design, the $600,000.
The 600,000 loan was approved, and I don't remember the date. I think it was mid-18,
Okay.
okay?
And what was that for?
And a new wastewater treatment plant, to design a new wastewater treatment plant.
Not across the river at Harold.
Now, we were gonna take the same footprint or same what we were gonna do across the river and put it in Harrow, okay? And reimbursement of the expenses across the river, geotech, there was an archaeological study over there with $70,000, $80,000. There had to be a phase 2 done because it was a campsite for the Indians.
I've had archaeological studies before, and my God, I mean.
The phase 1 was 15, 20,000. Phase 2, the dig, was $30,000, $40,000.
And who paid for that?
This reimbursement of $174,000, it was submitted to KIA in that P&D loan to reimburse for the expenses on that and other expenses across the river.
Reimburse who? That's trying to say.
Reimburse Prestonsburg.
Okay. we paid for it.
PCUC, yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah. Yeah, you paid for it up front and it was reimbursed, right. Yeah, there wasn't a thought of money to pay for anything at that time. That and geotech was $30,000. Surveying was quite a bit. We were updating this document, which whenever we went to Harold and incorporated Wayland and Eastern, that totally changed, so we had to pretty much start all over again. And so that 50% threshold hit, and we were still in design, not approved yet by Division Water. So we had to finish that, basically carrying it now over a year, and we've not been paid,
Carrying what?
Carrying the expenses, I had structural, I had MVP, I had most of the money I got out. Some of it's mine, but a lot of it's just reimbursement for subs. Architect, we designed a lab,
All for this over here?
all for the Harold plant.
Harold.
Yeah, right. A lab and a admin building.
Is that when we was gonna build the, big plant or what we're at right now? Still gonna build the admin building?
No, I don't think you can afford an admin building.
Okay.
I think you keep the little trailer you got there.
Okay.
Because, the admin building itself, what we designed with PCUC personnel is about $750,000.
For building up there?
Yeah, for an admin lab building, yeah.
I'd say that trailer worked just fine.
Yeah, I'm serious. About $750,000 is what, we had an architect design it, it's, it was pretty elaborate. We were building a Cadillac, that's what we were doing.
When we can afford a Pinto.
Well, and I didn't have a clue,
Right.
money wasn't there. I was trying to find more grant money, but there's just no grant money out there. There's none, basically. You can get community block grant, but you gotta get the LMI, low to medium income threshold, and that's, and I think the county had it locked up in. I don't think it was available.
When were those expenses, when were they? They a year ago or 2 years ago, the ones you were just talking about?
I haven't done any, we've had it approved, waiting on this document to get a final approval since fall of last year. Yeah,
So
since,
when was the work there about, when was that actual work?
most of 18, you know, spring to fall of 18, over that 6 months probably. I've got the invoice out of mine.
So why hadn't we seen those up till now?
I haven't submitted anything, I was waiting for it to get approved and then I was gonna submit it.
All right.
I've just been carrying.
But you're anticipating approval any day?
Well, not any day, I think we're gonna be into April. And, I think there's some issues going on in Frankfurt right now, maybe with this, Prestonsburg Southern deal. It seems like it's been slow walk to me. We have everything, all the Ts and the Is have been crossed and dotted, we're just waiting. It just seems, we had the public hearing when, Mike? Fall last year? October. Which is the last piece that we do for this document, is to have a public hearing. And then all the documentation is sent to Frankfurt, and then they write what they call the spear letter, and it's just been slow walked. It really has.
Who's it go to, Division of Water?
Yes.
Okay. That's all right, I was just curious about how that played out.
Well, I appreciate you coming.
Yeah.
Very informative.
Well, like I said, I wish I had. I mean, we've been submitting this stuff every month.
We really should have.
All we see is the invoices.
Yeah, well, I mean,
And you don't know when they're gonna end.
Yeah. But-
well, I mean, there's a lot of work.
Sure.
We've done a lot of work.
This helps me, that they're safe,
Yeah.
I didn't know, I didn't. know
Right.
that was.
Well, Cliff does these projects, right, Cliff? I mean,
Some, no.
Well, I mean,
not to the
it's
level.
already scaled.
Yeah.
It's already, it's all farmer home scale.
Yeah, on the scale. Yeah.
And it's, everybody gets paid the same thing. And if Vaughn and Melton does it, they get paid the same.
Well, what helps me is that you're submitting the progress report on a monthly basis.
Yeah,
We've not seen those.
yeah, and we do
Of course, I'm
inspect.
fairly new to the,
I've
Commission.
I've been here a long
but
time.
we've talked about it and nobody's seen those
And
before.
we do inspection reports daily. And like I said, you don't get those at the end of the month. We send them daily because we do them digital. My guys have iPads. So we just email them to everybody.
Anything else?
We'll go through it.
A little bit of
We'll
stuff.
come back, right?
Absolutely.
All right, all
If
right.
you'll have me back, I'd love to come.
Yeah, I think it'd be good.
Run into that problem.
Yeah, and if you got any questions, you can call me.
Well,
Wayne Brown.
What's he saying there?
when, you are going into executive session, and I'm not sure what y'all want to discuss, but if it's gonna be some of the properties and stuff that are involved in this, would y'all want Ron to hang around for a little while in case you have any questions for us?
What are we going to executive session?
Oh, it's on there.
Yeah. I think they just put it on there though.
Yeah, there's a couple things we,
Yeah, there's
We just talked about personnel.
yeah.
Well, do we need a motion for,
I think we should go, he just came back.
yeah,
Yeah,
We'll take him back next month.
I'll be glad to come.
give us time to
Yeah,
digest
we
all
gotta,
this.
we gotta look at those and go over them.
Yeah, if you got, you can email me, you can, anything I can do. Hey, Mike, I'm just gonna leave this stuff sitting, I'll get it tomorrow, if you
Be
don't mind.
fine. We'll just meet here tomorrow then.
Okay, I'll just leave this stuff sitting if you don't mind.
Yes,
Grab it.
sir.
I'll have help tomorrow, Brett will.
There won't be anything bad about it.
I don't carry much real with me these days.
Appreciate the
Hey,
information.
Mark, you know, Gary,
No?
would you mind hanging out there a little while? Okay.
You're going in executive session
No,
now?
not yet.
No,
We're gonna
If
talk
you don't
about-
mind, I'll just.
Yeah.
Corps engineers.
Corps of Engineers, they want us to put in a 6-inch water meter for the city of Martin. There's a 3-inch currently installed, and doesn't give them enough capacity at the new school. So they're paying us to put in a meter and Martin to extend the 8-inch line. That's theirs. This is an MOA, which is an agreement with Corps of Engineers, us, and Martin, saying they will pay us to do it, what we're responsible for, what Martin's responsible for. They've agreed to pay up to, and not to exceed $80,000 to put this in.
What can we do it for? You think? Yeah, did that cover our expense?
Yeah.
Are you good with what it says about, what they're what Martin's responsible for and what we're responsible for?
Yes. This would need to be signed by Jim and myself. If you guys would like to read through it, it's like 13 pages. There's 4 copies because we would have to sign 4 and then everybody else has to sign 4.
Have they signed it yet, Mark?
No one signed it yet. Sorry, I don't.
Maybe I can come say one. I'll go through
There's a possible litigation that may involve that will affect this. We'll probably discuss it in, we'll probably discuss that litigation in executive session before y'all vote on it. Brian, is this what was referred to as a repair to our system?
That is the, yes,
Just to make it real clear, it is not a repair.
repair. No.
We're actually changing our system so that it will adapt to their system.
It's an upgrade, yes.
Put less pressure on their system.
Gives them more body
Okay.
with less friction loss. Yes.
Okay.
Fire protection.
Yes. They want 595 gallons a minute, that's full, and they're getting the current. They keep a valve constantly throttled at the meter, and they get about 120. We opened the valve one day, Martin was there, we opened the valve wide open, they got 440. But that's still a 3-inch meter. The engineer's done some hydraulic modeling, says that with the 6-inch meter, the 8-inch line only reduced at the meter, that they can pass their fire flow. I have worked with Mike Johnson, which is the Corps of Engineers engineer. We've sorted through it, and then I actually had Kip review it. We've made some changes to kindly protect ourselves, so we're just responsible to the meter and nothing else.
Does this incorporate those changes?
Yes,
Yeah, so if those changes are in here
yes,
and they're gonna pay for it,
yes.
Well,
executive session.
there would be no problem if y'all go ahead and sign it and holding it off submitting it until after y'all can approve it to be signed right now.
Kippy's reviewed it though.
Kippy has reviewed it, yes, and they are actually wanting to pick it up tomorrow because they told Hal Rogers they would be having everybody sign it.
And Kippy's happy with this draft?
Yes. Kip took their draft and went through it and redone it, reworded it and sent it back to them, and they,
Yeah, the original wording on it was actually, it's almost derogatory towards us that our system couldn't handle it and that we was gonna upgrade and fix it and everything else. And I think Brian and Kip both took it a little bit personal, and they changed the wording and let them know that that wasn't the case at all. And also, it takes a lot of liability off of us from the meter on, is that correct?
yes.
Which there would have been some previously.
Well, I think before we vote on it, we need to talk about closed. We need to know, we need to talk about this executive session.
Okay.
It just seems like there's an awful lot of things on here that says Prestonsburg shall,
Mhm.
Prestonsburg will,
And not to exceed.
Prestonsburg shall. You know, a lot of, like on this page. Prestonsburg shall obtain all necessary lands, easements, licenses, permits required for the work. What else? Well, any or all damages to property of others as a result of work item number 1 shall be promptly repaired or replaced by Prestonsburg. It just seems like everything's us. Are you all right with all that?
It's pretty typical what we.
Yeah, it's pretty typical of what we do.
Yeah, I think.
There's a limited area, I assume, where the meter will be installed.
Yes.
As long as you're.
And there's also talk here about a vault. Saw that.
Yeah, I saw that too.
The original concept was one vault with all the components in it. We backed up, and that's why the exhibit in there, which is kind of a stick drawing, is essentially a meter vault with the meter, which is our responsibility, and from that, everything else will be the city of Martin's responsibility. So we separated.
But you will install the vault.
Yes, we will do the work totally for both components and tie it in and get paid for that. Yes, but from the meter, once Martin inspects it and takes ownership of it, then from the meter on, that's their responsibility.
But we have to perform a newly installed meter testing, we have to do all the testing on that.
Yeah.
Well, as long as there's no extraneous type expense, we don't see that. That's all I'm worried about.
Up to $80,000.
Not to exceed
Not
80.
to exceed that. And they think it's gonna cost 76 on it?
It's estimated, I estimated it at 73. We added, it was lower than that, but once, part of that in there says they need an as-built, and then I went back and added Bo Cook engineering fee and then Kip McNally's fee to review it. So that's the reason that it went from 60, whatever, 64 to 73.
That's some money we'll spend if we have any issues with it.
So all I mean to say this, there's no possibility that, they're saying that what they're going to pay us is what, 80?
Not to exceed.
Not to exceed 80.
Yeah, what?
There's no potential, but this could go over 80.
It's not near any homes or anything.
I'm just saying, I've
Over in shot
had
there.
too many of these overs for me.
It's always.
I'm done with the overs.
There's always potential. We dig into it. You can dig into somebody's water.
Over and under.
You don't know about.
Optimism.
Dr. Clark's a little jaded.
I understand.
I wonder how I got that way. You boys have not been here long enough.
Not long enough
I can tell you
to be
that.
jaded.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna hold off on
That's
this
Brian.
until
He'll tell you.
we discuss.
Brian. If you guys are all right with it, I'm all right with it. That's about it.
Let's hold off on the signing until we talk
All right.
about some other things.
All right.
Anything else?
Cliff, you and Kevin are only public now.
Yeah?
What now?
You and
Public
Kevin are only
comment.
public, Cliff.
Oh, no.
You're all right.
I can't come. I didn't figure I'd get kicked out tonight.
You can get your sandwich on the way out.
Getting back to you.
I go with you.
Where are we on the assumption of those little bell phones? We don't talk about that executive session.
That's something we'll need to talk about, because it's gonna do some litigation.
I make a motion to go into executive session on whatever last thing is.
Glenn makes a motion to go into executive session under 61.810 subsection 1, subsection B, for some of the properties that are gonna be affected in these agreements. Subsection C for litigation, that is probably forthcoming, and subsection P for personnel issues that need to be addressed.
I second.
All in favor?
I think we're gonna go in there, Bells.